Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, The Profit Roamer. Wonder, invest, and prosper. So today we're going to finally talk about my experience with looking for property in the Dominican Republic and what I ultimately purchased. So stay tuned for that. So let's first talk about financing. I mean, you do need money to purchase a property. So they do have financing options in the Dominican Republic, but there's just only a few for foreign investors. Scotia Bank being one of them that I can recall, and there's probably about one or two others. But the caveat to getting financing in the Dominican Republic is that the interest rate is sky high. I'm talking about at least 10%, as high as 13 or 14%. So it's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run for purchasing a property that's $60 or $80 or $100,000. So that's the bad thing about it. And another thing that I didn't like too much, and I think a lot of foreign investors won't like too much as well, is that after 5 years, the loan then becomes variable. It's no longer fixed. So basically, you have a fixed loan that you take out from Scotia Bank or another selected bank that they have for foreigners, only for 5 years. After that, the rates can vary. They can go up, they can go down, and being familiar with those type of banks, I knew that I didn't want to take that risk. So I backed out of one of the deals that I was going to go into because I got knowledge of the high interest rates and that it is not a fixed loan for the life of the loan that I'm used to here in America. So therefore, I didn't want to take that risk after 5 years having that loan interest rate vary. It could go sky high, it could be low, but I didn't want to take that risk, so I backed out of that investment. And let's dive into the investment that I was speaking of earlier. I wanted to get a apartment condo in Punta Cana. It was about $60,000 to $100,000, somewhere in there. I don't specifically remember the cost or the price of that apartment. But it would have been in a nice area in Punta Cana. It would have been about 2 bedrooms with a balcony. It would have been a pretty nice purchase. But I want you all to know that you all that are going into foreign countries, specifically the Dominican Republic, which I have the experience with, that you will have to pay a fee. And that fee can range from $500 to $1,000 to hold that specific property. So you have to pay that fee to hold the property and say, yes, I want this property. And then after that, you will then go into the financing aspect of purchasing that property and the plans with your realtor in the Dominican Republic. What I don't necessarily like about that is that they will get you to pay this $500 to $1,000 fee, and then they will go into the financing options. I want to know the financing options up front. At least that was my scenario. I like the place. When you look at the layout of the building, you say, I want that one. Okay, if you want that one, you have to pay a fee to secure that spot. And then after I paid that fee, he then told me about the financing options. And then once I found out about the financing options and that the rates were sky high, 10, 13%, and that it wasn't a fixed loan, as far as the life of the loan being fixed at a fixed rate, it could vary after 5 years. That's when I said I went out. And it took us, some time to get that money back, but we ended up getting our $500 back. Thanks to God, we got our money back. But I just want you guys to be mindful that a lot of the times they will get you to pay this fee to lock you in, and then they'll go over the financing, and then you're like, okay, what can I do at this point? Like, this rates are so high and I don't want to take this risk. Do I go on and continue with this purchase, or do I back out? And a lot of times when you want to back out, they will not give you your fee back. We had to fight for our fee. So I want you guys to be very cautious about paying a $500 to $1,000 fee without being educated on how the financing of that property is conducted in that country. I need you to know, once again, I'll say it again, it's about 10 to 13% interest on that money that you borrow from the bank in that country. And after that 5 years, the loan becomes variable. So I want you guys to be mindful and educated on your options. And if that doesn't sound okay with you, as far as after 5 years, the loan becomes a variable. As far as the interest rate could fluctuate, it could go to 30%, it could go as low as 1%, but it could go to 20%, and it could go down to 13%. As for me, I wouldn't suggest it. But this video is to help you all make a proper, informed decision from my mistakes and some of the things I learned. So at this point, I moved from buying a apartment or a condo or a villa or a house to actually purchasing land. And that's a whole different thing to talk about here. And some places you can buy land, but they give you 5 years to build on that land. After the 5 years, if you do not build on that land, they will start penalizing you. And that penalty results in you paying a fee every month until you start initiating a build on that land. So you have to be mindful of that as well, because you only have 5 years to build on that land without any penalties. After the 5 years, you will be penalized. And that penalty comes in the form of making a payment to the HOA or to the group that overlooks the construction of that land. You will have to pay a penalty. On the contrary, there are some land that I will recommend looking for in the Dominican Republic, and maybe foreign places as well, but I only can speak for the Dominican Republic, that do not specify or box you in to a limit of years to build land. They limit 5 years. After that, you'll be penalized. You don't want a limit of, you get these 5 years for free to have this land without building. After that, you get penalized and you'll have to pay each month. So ultimately, I bought some land that I won't get penalized on. I can own the land. I could build 10 years, 30 years, or just have the land as land and not get penalized. That is the land that you want to look for. Land that you will not be penalized on if you do not build on it ever. So let's talk about getting a lawyer in the Dominican Republic. Getting a lawyer is very important. And also, I think more importantly, is getting a real estate agent that you can actually trust and that they do their job. If you get a good real estate agent, in my opinion and in my experience, you do not need a lawyer, because that real estate agent will provide a lawyer for you. And that happened in my case. In other cases and scenarios may be different. And she's a damn good lawyer, and I'll work with her again. Now be mindful, if you have a lawyer, that they will do research on the property that you specifically want. And that property that you specifically want, they will do that research for, and you will pay for that research. Meaning, if you want another property that you're interested in and you put that other property in the garbage and you say you don't want that property and you want a new property, guess what? You're going to have to pay for that research again. So make sure that a property that you're looking at or that you want is really what you want and that you're going to pay for. Because if not, you're going to continue to look at other properties and other properties and other properties and continually pay for research to your lawyer. And every time that lawyer does research, you're gonna have to pay him. So to not waste money, make sure that your property that you're looking for, that you really want, and that is available, and that you can purchase, and that you know for a shadow of a doubt that you or your realtor know that it's a good property. And then I would say pay the lawyer so that they can do their due diligence to make sure that there's no encumbrances, whoever you're purchasing the property from is the right owner of that land. So this is important, getting the lawyer. But like I said in the previous part, previously, that getting a good realtor will mitigate a lot of that. And I have a real good realtor. So for the most part, when you conduct business in a foreign country, you really have to trust your instincts. There are good apples and bad apples here in America, in Europe, in the Caribbean, and everywhere around the world. Trust your instinct. If you think that a person is a good person, go with them and give them a chance. And that's what I ended up doing with my realtor, and she turned out to be good. Trust your instinct, because you're in a foreign country. You don't know how things operate, and only you can decipher if a person has good intent for you or not. So trust your instinct. Up next, I'm gonna basically go into the deal that we conducted with my realtor in purchasing my land in Samaná, Dominican Republic. So ultimately, I ended up purchasing 300 square meters of land in Samaná, Dominican Republic. Why is buying land beneficial? First of all, let's think about financing. I didn't have to get a loan. And then the second thing is that this land didn't have a specific time frame that I need to construct a property on the land. I could have it bare for the rest of my life, or I could build tomorrow. So you don't, and then when you want to get an apartment in the Dominican Republic, a lot of times you have to wait 2 to 3 years for the construction crew to construct the apartment complex. But in the case of having land, you can construct the day after, your purchase of the property is complete. So these are the benefits of buying land, specifically in the Dominican Republic. And I would think that this would be the benefit anywhere in the world. And also, you can make the house to your specification. Do you want 1 bedroom? Do you want 2 bedroom? Where do you want your kitchen? Do you want your pool on the 3rd floor, or do you want it on the 1st floor? How do you want your layout of your property? And so ultimately, I am happy with my purchase of land in Samaná. And Samaná is a great place to be. There are many beaches, Cayo Frio, Playita Beach. You have Grande, Playa Grande, Playa Frontón, downtown Las Galeras. Las Arenas is very close, which is one of my favorite places to be. Bonita Beach is one of my favorite beaches in Las Arenas. If you're ever there, go visit it. So this is ultimately the things that I have learned from my process of purchasing property in the Dominican Republic. I went through villas, I went through apartments and condos. I went through all of these different type of properties in the Dominican Republic, and what I ultimately purchased was land. And to save you guys some time, maybe you guys do want to purchase an apartment, but I would specifically say purchase some land. There's many benefits to that. Like I said, all the benefits before. You can make your property to your specification. You don't have to take out a loan. You can look for a deal, a family that's selling property in that area, and they won't sell it for a high dollar that these construction companies are selling it for. So these are the things that I've learned. And thank you once again for joining the video and looking at the video. The Profit Roamer. Once again, wonder, invest, and prosper. Bye-bye.